This is Ravens Flock Talk Podcast, coming to you every week with their thoughts and opinions on each and every Ravens game. Tune in weekly and join the flock.
You are now listening to Ravens Flock Talk. I'm your host, Brandon, with my co-host, my dad. Prime time, first division game, down the drain. And I think I'm going to call this episode, Tucker, Will You Marry Me? Because, my gosh, what a weapon he is to have. Pulled through for us. It's nice that we could finally win ugly and come over the adversity of the game.
Totally agree with you. After a devastating loss, Brandon, it's good to come back on a division game. There's a lot of good to be that we can talk about today. Offense and defense.
Good and bad.
Good and bad, but I'm feeling pumped up. It's always good to have a win.
Yes. I mean, it was very nerve-wracking because, as you know, in prime time, we don't really come up big for some odd reason. This is a home game. It was not guaranteed due to the fact we lost our 5 recent home games that we played. And Cincinnati's always a tough draw for us, even in the Andy Dalton days. And what this team did to us last year was embarrassing. So I'm glad that we got some revenge.
I was nervous too. We lost 5 in a row at home. So This was key. Division game, our first division game, Brandon.
To take the lead in the division too?
To take the lead and be sole possession of first place was huge.
Yes.
And so I'm still pumped about the game. Like you said, Tucker, we believe in you, right?
Yeah. I mean, I know Cincinnati has to be kicking themselves because they lost week 1 to Pittsburgh, who's bottom in our division. They're probably going to lose again. They play Tampa Bay next, so they are basically done. So to lose that game really sucks because it's a division game and then they lose close to us. So I'm glad that we were able to pull it out. And let's just get right into it. I first want to talk about the coaching. Finally, John Harbaugh, I was so happy he chose to take that field goal on the 4th and inches. And it's funny because at the time, me and you disagreed because you wanted to go for it and give it to your boy Ricard. Remember?
Yeah.
And I kind of talked you into why it was good to take the 3 because it was 10 minutes left. It was a long game. You got to take your points. I mean, these division games are going to be close. So every point really matters. Why gamble like Cincinnati did on that 4th and 2? And now you're fighting the clock too at that point.
Well, I think Harbaugh learned his lesson last game, right? And yes, you got to take the points when you can get the points, especially in a close game like this.
Division game.
You can't play any games. You can't be cute. In
and
the
that's
red
what
zone.
Cincinnati did.
And that's what they did.
They screwed themselves by that double reverse that Peters and the handoff play that was miscommunicated on their part. And props. You know what? I will say props to our defense.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't pretty the entire time. I think the only player that frustrated me the most was Marcus Peters. He doesn't like to tackle. He's not aggressive. And he had some pass interference calls, but Humphrey comes up. You didn't really hear Chase's name, and he killed us last year. Yeah. So props to the defense really for keeping the score as low as it was.
Well, totally agree because they were getting killed in the media, right? Because they had a bad game.
Yeah.
So they needed to step up. They did, and I got to give them props. And you know what? Hey, Patrick Queen. Okay, he finally gets over the hump, Brandon. He gets that, monkey off his back. Even in the post game, they were razzing him on the field. He was taking extra catches. So I'm happy for the young guy, right? I mean, he needed this for confidence, and we need him in the middle of the field. So that was a big, huge play in the third quarter, right out of halftime, and props to Queen.
And wasn't that like right after our interception? So it was something.
Well, he intercepted right after.
No, I'm saying when we turned the ball over. And then he got the pick right after that. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think I'm not
because Cincinnati had momentum going. I think we went.
Oh yeah, they came out.
And then the next play after he gets the pick.
It was the first series of the second half. So and before you know it, we have the ball back, which was huge.
Yes,
which is because it was 10-10 game at that time.
Yeah.
So
it was also nice. Speaking of the defense, while we're on that topic, Jason Pierre-Paul, 2 batted passes back to back. He got his first sack. It's nice that now he's in the mix. He's getting lots of reps due to Houston also being out. It'll be nice, though, when Justin Houston comes back. You can rotate him away, have Pierre-Paul out there, give these guys some breaks, and then have them come on when they're fresh. So it was nice to see him amongst the mix.
Yeah, I'm thinking about the defense. Bynes had a nice sack, and I'm just thinking overall it was a big display of defense. They're finally playing Ravens ball. They were hitting hard. And, the key to me for the defense, Brandon, was they didn't want to have anything long for Burrow. Okay, that was his bile, right? He gets these big chunk plays, and they kept him underneath. And at first I was like, what the heck? Why are they like 5-10 yards off? But then I saw that the strategy was not to have the big play. They kept them underneath. And we had a lot of third downs where we kept them off the field. They had to punt.
Well, a lot of the third downs were third and longs.
Well, third and longs.
So it makes it easier for us. And that was nice to see. And speaking of that, I don't know if you heard, too, I don't know when he said this, but Burrow said, quote, if you're going to play too high, you're going to have to deal with Joe Mixon and the run game. And if you decide to play man, then good luck. End quote.
Yeah.
So very cocky, very cocky. And then after the game, he says, there's just nothing. This is after this game. Quote, there's just nothing down the field. And if teams are going to play us like they did today. Saying that there's nothing down the field. Yeah, so we eliminated that.
Yeah, and we're helping out the other teams how to play the Bengals.
Yes,
right?
good
because
point.
Lamar, they figured him out last year and had all these strategies for defense against them and blitzes and coverages on him. So, hey, maybe we just proved and showed the rest of the NFL how to play the Bengals.
Yeah, I mean, Chase has not had the numbers he's had last year as of week 5. But we took out the long ball. It just seems like slants and go routes is his go-to sort of deal, and we eliminated that. So props to the defense.
Hey, let's talk about Campbell.
Another good thing I just want to say too. This is going to surprise you. We are actually tied with the most turnovers in the league with 10 with Philly. You would never think that with this defense.
Actually, that is a surprise.
Yeah.
Right? Because we were last in defense. Not long.
Well, yeah, and our secondaries last too.
Yeah.
So when I saw that, it was us and Eagles tied for first with 10, and then 9 is Bills, Jags, and the Bucks. So
yeah,
I was like, wow.
I'm surprised, but not surprised because I remember the amount of turnovers we've been getting in critical situations to keep us in the game.
A lot of picks.
Hey, let's face it, we've had the lead in every single game.
Even this game.
Yeah, every single game we had it. And but speaking of that, when we were up 10-0 and they're coming back, I mean, I'm saying in the first half, you got to be kidding me at halftime, and they get the ball out.
I will say though, 10 is not such a huge lead because all they get, even a field goal, it becomes a 1-score game.
I got you, but this is a division game, and we always know they play us tough, right? Yeah. So when you have a lead on somebody like that, like even Patrick Mahomes, you've got to come out with a lead, or else it's just going to be a blowout game.
That's what the Raiders did, and then
and look what happened.
Yep.
So,
But you were talking about Calais, right?
On that play down in the red zone, so critical with that little shovel pass, and he breaks it up. And that was, to me, one of the most key defensive plays that he just busted up the play. They didn't get in the end zone. They had to settle for a field goal, and that was just huge.
Yeah, I mean, overall, it was your typical division game. Both teams just had one touchdown. It was a low-scoring game. It kind of reminded me back of those, Pittsburgh battles, man. Yeah. I mean, it was, 12-9, these low-scoring, ugly games. And on the topic of ugly, Lamar didn't have his usual MVP type of game, missed 2 throws that they highlighted, but when it counted, he pulled through. And I think we just basically said we're gonna do any and everything to win this and run him a gazelle.
Yeah, but let's go back now. Let's talk about the offense and some of the highlights there, Brandon, because J.K. it's so nice to see him come back so strong. I mean, he was key. There's a big criticism in the media now that in the fourth quarter, the fourth quarter last drive, he wasn't on the field for whatever reasons. We haven't figured it out.
Him and Stanley.
And so, I just love J.K.'s the way he runs. He reminds me of Ray Rice back in the day. He hits the hole hard and he runs hard. So, props to him. I just love the guy, right?
Yeah, regarding the topic of J.K., there is some controversy I heard on Twitter. Me and my dad don't have Twitter, but I heard that he was liking tweets around the topic of wanting more carries and being frustrated with that, and also something I believe, don't quote me on this, along the topics of being traded or wanting to be traded or something. And that is very, if it is true, right, it's very unfortunate after a win too. It's like, dude, you've been hurt all year, a gruesome leg injury. This is your second game back. You're not going to get 30 carries right out the gate, and that would be so stupid of us to do that. So I commend the coaching staff for putting Stanley and JK on a pitch count. Like,
I can't believe Twitter and all the things you hear about that.
Listen, you can see people's tweets, and you could see that he liked those tweets, and obviously he feels some sort of way.
But that's JK. He wants to be out there 100%. He wanted to be out there the first game of the season, and he wasn't ready. So I understand. I hear you, but he's going to be fine. He's a Raven.
Let's hope, because I don't want to see a Hollywood Brown situation, a Lando Brown. I don't want to see him turn into those guys. He's a solid guy and helps our offense so much, and it's going to be even more deadly when Gus comes back too. If he comes back looking like JK, picks up right where he left off. I don't put anything past these players. I really don't.
Speaking of that, let's talk about my boy Ronnie Stanley. Okay, I'm hard on him. And I didn't think he would play.
Let's be honest, you don't like him.
It's the fact that...
And it's not just you, it's a lot of Ravens fans that feel the same way.
Hey, I'm not backing down from that. I mean, this guy is 2 years since he's been on the field. So he comes back, he has a pitch count. I've been listening to media for the last couple days about him, and I'm so confused, Brandon, why people think that, why didn't he play the whole game? And these are top radio sports junkies and announcers.
Local
radio Maryland. And they're so confused for some reason why Ronnie Stanley didn't play the whole game, or why he wasn't out there in the last drive. Guess what? This guy hasn't played in 2 years.
Yeah.
2 years.
Even longer than JK.
So I'm glad he had a good game. He said, and Harbaugh said, they have to watch film to see how good he really was. But at least he didn't get hurt again. I call him cotton candy tissue paper Stanley. Far be it from me to say anything, but still, it's because that he just doesn't. To me, with the injuries, he's just not tough.
It's just, I think fans need to realize it's such a long season. Why would you jeopardize all of that on one game? Right. I get this is a big game, but you're going to have more chances.
And last year he came back for one game, got hurt again,
and was out
the whole season.
Wasn't that the beginning of the opening? With the Raiders, I think.
So look, here, listen. I'll back up a little bit. Ronnie had a good game, considering he hasn't played for 2 years, over 2 years. So you know what? Let's ease him back into it. So we've been doing fine without him, and I say okay. So that was good to see that he is coming back strong, and I wish him the best, and we need him down the stretch.
Yeah, I mean, overall, there's not really much else to say. I mean, Lamar had some big throws late in the game, came through for us at the end of that drive. He really almost broke it, but he tripped on Duvernay's feet. But
hey, you just said the key word, Duvernay. Let's not.
Yeah, Duvernay and Andrews are definitely our
go-to
bread and butter right now. Even I know Bateman was hurt, but Bateman has not seen the targets as Andrews and even Duvernay. So it's very interesting, because before the season he was, supposed to be quote unquote our number one. Now that Hollywood was gone, and Hollywood was not a number one at all, but now Duvernay seems like, in terms of the wide receiver position, our guy.
Well, the person I want to see on offense to step up is Likely. He has to come through, right? He has to start showing the signs he did in preseason. And he just hasn't shown me anything. But so thank God for Andrews. I can't believe he was open on that pass for a touchdown in the first half.
Oh, yeah.
He was wide open. How could you leave a guy like that wide open? So
tell that to the Raiders and Travis Kelce.
Yeah. That's true.
I mean, good gosh. But yeah, it's astonishing, and it's nice that Lamar has a safety outlet. I was actually scared, though, because he was only targeting him, and I told you, I said, they're going to pick up on it and jump the route and pick it. It's going to be over. I was scared. I was actually scared at that last drive on throwing it too much because we were doing so good running the ball, but JK wasn't in the game, and they kind of just said, Lamar, basically bring us home like the couple years ago.
You know what's good to see, Ravens fans, is we always just depend on Lamar 100%. He had 3 bad throws, 2 of them for possible touchdowns. He wasn't having a good game. It's all on the media. However, there's no better competitor than Lamar Jackson. And at the
he wins 75% of his games. 75.
40 wins. I can't.
It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. But the thing about it is to see him take over the game, to get in field goal position, and then have the GOAT come up and just kick it with effortlessly. I mean, before that 58-yard. 58. No team will do that unless they have a Tucker, Brandon. No team.
The Cardinals missed a gimme.
Oh my gosh.
A gimme, and the Browns
all weekend long we're seeing these kickers missing extra points.
By the way, in this game, the extra point from Cincinnati, I swore.
Oh yeah,
that was missed.
Yeah.
It reminded me of Ravens fans, if you remember. The game, Torrey Smith's big game against New England, our Super Bowl year after his brother died. I think the same thing happened with us, though. Tucker kicked it and it went right over the top, and Belichick was outraged because he's thinking he missed it.
Right.
He grabs the ref, and then Al Michaels said, oh, that's going to be a fine. And it reminded me of that because I haven't seen that until then, and I was thinking, oh my God, they missed it. It changes the outcome of the game, but they ruled it good.
Hey, it's good to have.
It's rare you'll see a Tucker do stuff like that.
It's just we are so spoiled in Baltimore fans, guys, to have a Tucker. He is the absolute GOAT. So when you're talking about Tom Brady and quarterbacks, you got to just say, as a kicker, he is the absolute GOAT. I'm glad we have him on the team. I'm glad we have Lamar because we're never out of the game. It was just a good outing. And the fact that Lamar didn't have his best game, other people came up.
And he still pulled through, too.
And the defense came through good. Now, Marcus Williams is hurt, right? Yeah. So that's going to be key. How are they going to handle Giants coming up next?
Geno Stone's taking his place.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough game. I'm really worried about the next game. But in terms of this game, Brandon, happy, Ravens fan. Let's talk about our new subscribers, Brandon, that we have.
I'm glad you mentioned that. I should have mentioned that earlier. Really quick though, I do want to say that I did see some Ravens fans sort of like, this is why Lamar doesn't, he shouldn't be guaranteed all that money. Listen, you're not going to play every week like an MVP. Let's not be spoiled, but I'm glad that he was able to overcome his misses and come through for us. That is the sign of a winner. That is the sign of a champion, in my opinion. It's the next play. So for those Ravens fans saying that, I mean, come on, that's ridiculous. You got to do better than that. Not every game is going to be pretty, especially with this organization. But big shout out to, again, SL. He's been staying consistent with the comments. We really appreciate it. He said Harbaugh and analytics failure needs to be hitting the coach assist button. Too many losses by 3 or less. So I'm sure he's going to be excited that he took that 3 and didn't get too aggressive like Cincinnati's coach. And also Jason Hicks, man, he commented so much. We really appreciate it. We love the passion. We agree with everything you said regarding last week. The only thing that we kind of disagreed on was saying that the refs calling all those plays had an effect. Maybe it was a typo where you said you didn't think it had too much of an effect or not, but we agree with everything you said, man. We love the passion. And yeah, I think the majority of our fan base is kind of on the same page when it comes to the offense, the defense, the coaching. we watch these games in and out, and it's kind of become the same thing week after week, year after year. So it's kind of engraved in us.
Hey, we appreciate all the feedback.
Feedback, subscribers, yeah.
Give us your feedback.
If you disagree,
and we can
let us know.
We can debate it on the next
on the next episode. But moving on, we got the Giants. They're 4-1. Surprisingly, that whole division's been a surprise with Dallas and Philly being the last undefeated team. I know they have a big matchup against each other Sunday night, but the Giants coach, I'm forgetting his name now, but former Bills offensive coordinator, a big comeback win in London against the Packers, so they're feeling good. This is not going to be a gimme.
We're going against Wink in the defense, so so that's the big storyline right now, right?
For us Giants. Personally, but I'm saying overall, man, the Giants, they look like they have their coach since Tom Coughlin.
Yeah,
Brian Daboll.
Okay, but I'm thinking about Wink, and they were talking about he knows Lamar, he knows how to defend him, so it's going to be an interesting game because he has that experience.
We will see.
Well, we're not big Wink fans, but let me tell you, he knows Baltimore, so it's going to be a good strategic game, and I'm looking forward to it, and I'm just enjoying this game and this win. I'm relaxing now, waiting for Sunday to come along, and it feels good to win at home.
Yeah, I mean, what a great week. Being the only team that won this week. I mean, the Browns collapsed. They have a tendency to collapse like us. Steelers got blown out. So it's going to be us, Cleveland, and Cincinnati. Cleveland is kind of hanging on until they get Watson, but who's to say that when he comes back, he's going to be the Watson of the Texans?
Hey, the bottom line is we seized the opportunity to be number one in our division, and that's what we did. We took care of business, and we just need to take game by game.
Yep, and the only thing I'm looking forward to this next game is, again, to see how the offense goes against Wink, as you said, but also how we maintain Saquon Barkley. He is their bread and butter.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid of Daniel Jones when it comes to passing, but he can run. But it's going to be how do we contain Saquon? Guys like him and Nick Chubb can always kill us.
Just dash us, and we don't have Pierce in the middle. So the linebackers are going to have to tackle, and the corners are going to have to tackle on this game. And it's going
Harrison, Bynes, Queen, they got to come up big.
The thing is, we've always been able to shut down premier running backs, but with the injuries that we have, let's see.
Yeah.
But man, if we can shut them down and don't make them a one-dimensional team, we're going to be good.
I don't think it's going to be easy, but I mean, if they do, win by a hefty margin, I will be surprised. But
I think Lamar is going to have a good game, a passing game, because he was a little embarrassed.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to come out throwing. And bottom line, it looks like the Ravens this year, Brandon, is all about offense and scoring more points than the defense can prevent. So I say points up, man. Put the points up.
You got to run up the score. That's why it was nice to see the defense kind of hold their own this game.
Yeah.
But hopefully, like I said, not every loss is a bad loss. And I think this was a sign of desperation, this game, that because of those two blown leads, you got to win this game. And hopefully now, on the opposite end of that, they can carry this momentum into New York.
And get some confidence on some of the younger players. So that's a good thing. That's a good sign.
Yes. So we will tune into you at the Giants and hope for a win.